comic book people of the world, the first issue to the Transformers Ghostbusters team up from IDW Comics has come out. But before that, let me show you some of the other comics I got this week, because it is Wednesday and that means it's comic book day. First we have Thanos issue number 3. This is somewhat of like a prequel series explaining Thanos and Gamora's relationship. We get to see a bit of Daddy Thanos come out, where he's a bit protective over Gamora, but he's still Thanos, which means that he's hardcore to the max. I'm personally somewhat interested in this series just to see the relationship between these two characters and how they developed with each other. Doctor Strange issue number 15. I generally don't read Doctor Strange too often, but this is very interesting because I never really thought about Galactus and Dormammu ever having some sort of team up, much less having Galactus actually absorb Dormammu and his magics. There's a big breaking of the realms between science and magic after this, and now Doctor Strange has to assemble his own elite team of super people, magicians and superheroes alike to stop this. It's a pretty darn epic story and I'm really liking it. Batman Beyond issue number 33. The elderly Bruce Wayne has been replaced by another character by the name of Falseface. Luckily though, that deception is figured out in this issue. Oh yeah, and I didn't really describe him. He's a supervillain that's capable of taking on the identity of someone else, with the other person going into some sort of like catatonic state that he can't really comprehend as to who he is. However, the character is still at large and we have no idea what he's going to end up doing. Avengers issue number 20. This is a War of the Realms tie-in. I'm more interested in this issue because we get a bit more of a backstory as to what's happening with She-Hulk. She's much more Hulkified, if that makes sense, where she's much bigger, has a lot less of her intellect when she's in her Hulk form, and she's at war with herself inside her own psyche, where the sensational She-Hulk wants to come out. Well, kind of, sort of, this does give a bit of an explanation as to why we have this version of She-Hulk instead of the sensational version. War of the Realms issue 6 of 6, the conclusion to this story. I won't reveal any major spoilers, but a lot of people are already aware of the fact that Jane Foster is going to be taking up the mantle of Valkyrie, and of course Mjolnir reforging itself and Thor becoming worthy once again. This wasn't a bad series by a long shot, but it wasn't really all that epic other than the few things that resulted at the end. Anyways, let's talk about Transformers Ghostbusters issue number 1. This is an alternate universe for the Transformers. It starts out similar somewhat to the G1 cartoon series, where the Autobots had just abandoned Cybertron, but this is where it diverges because instead of the Decepticons chasing after them, Zool appears on Cybertron. Meanwhile, the Autobots had just discovered Earth. We're introduced to the character Electronimus Diamatron, which I think that's how you pronounce it. He's also known as Eki, but a lot of people out there may know him because he's the character that's going to be transforming into the Ecto-1 for the Ghostbusters, which is also a toy scheduled to be released that I have on pre-order myself. Starscream's ghost appears on Earth and tries to warn Electronimus, but the Ghostbusters quickly realize he's a ghost and they capture him. It never even occurred to me that something like that could happen, but bam, it did, and I think that's great. This is only the first issue, and we probably are going to have the whole problem with Zool coming to Earth, so I am definitely on board with this ride and seeing how it's going to play out. At first, I was somewhat weary, thinking how could the Transformers and Ghostbusters really have a cool story together, but you know what? This issue proved me wrong, and I'm totally on it. Anyways, that's my comic load for this week. What did you guys read? Leave comments down below, let me know. With that, thank you guys for watching me in this video. Be sure to check out my Patreon site, check out my social media sites, my websites, and everything else out there. Peace, love, namaste, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. I'm in love with a hero. There's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive where Optimus Prime is going to be painted in the colors of the Ecto-1, which I really want to get. Unfortunately, I won't be at San Diego. If anyone out there can help me out, I will pay you for this character, this toy. I really want to add it to my collection.